Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Imagine holding in your hand a tiny coin that could make you a millionaire overnight. A coin so rare and unique that collectors across the globe would stop at nothing to own it. And that coin is the 1982 D1 cent from the United States, valued astonishingly at $322 million in today's numismatic market. A figure that seems almost impossible for a coin whose face value is just 1 cent, yet history, minting errors, and the scarcity of perfect specimens have turned this humble penny into a treasure of unimaginable proportions. The story of this coin begins in 1982 when the U.S. Mint faced a period of transition, primarily due to rising copper prices which led to changes in the composition of the penny itself. Prior to 1982, pennies were made predominantly of copper, but in 1982 the mint shifted to a primarily zinc composition with a thin copper plating, creating a unique environment where both copper and zinc pennies were produced in the same year, adding layers of complexity for collectors and introducing a variety of minting anomalies. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D mint mark on these coins, became a focal point for rarity due to subtle differences in production techniques, die wear, and the unprecedented transition between metals, one of the primary reasons the 1982 D penny commands such astronomical value is the occurrence of the double die errors, where the coin's design elements, such as the date, Lincoln's profile, or the lettering, appear doubled, a phenomenon caused by a misalignment during the striking process which creates an optical illusion of duplication that is highly sought after by numismatists. But the story doesn't end there, as some 1982 D pennies also exhibit a rare off-center strike, where the coin's design is shifted from the center, leaving a portion of the planchet blank, a mistake that collectors prize because it is both visually striking and extremely limited in quantity. Additionally, there are instances of broad strikes, where the coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes it, causing the metal to spread outward beyond its intended diameter. These broad-struck pennies are even rarer and contribute significantly to the overall valuation of the 1982 D coin. Experts also pay close attention to the coin's condition or grade, because the difference between a circulated coin with minor wear and an uncirculated specimen in perfect mint state can be millions of dollars in value. A flawless 1982 D penny that exhibits any of the noted errors can see its market price skyrocket. And with only a limited number of these perfect specimens known to exist, the scarcity drives demand to extreme levels. Another contributing factor to its astronomical value is the existence of rare varieties within the 1982 D series. For instance, some coins minted in copper are indistinguishable at a glance from zinc pennies, yet their composition alone can add tens of millions to their worth. A copper 1982 D penny in pristine condition is exceedingly rare due to the mint's mid-year switch to zinc, and collectors recognize that owning such a coin is akin to possessing a historical artifact that bridges two distinct eras of coinage. The possibilities for discovering even more unusual anomalies are endless, with every coin in circulation offering a slight chance that a collector might unearth a specimen with an unprecedented error, such as die cracks, repunched mint marks, or even misaligned planchets. Each of these imperfections adds a layer of mystique and drives the collectible value far beyond its nominal face value. In addition, the story of the 1982 D penny is intertwined with the broader narrative of U.S. currency history. This was a period marked by experimentation, cost-saving measures, and responses to economic pressures, which collectively created an environment ripe for minting mistakes. Numismatic enthusiasts often marvel at how a coin, initially produced to be spent in everyday transactions, has transcended its mundane origin to become a symbol of wealth, rarity, and historical intrigue. The 1982 D penny has inspired countless articles, online discussions, and auction headlines precisely because its journey from a 1-cent piece to a $322 million collector's item illustrates the unpredictable and sometimes whimsical nature of coin collecting. Auctions featuring such coins often attract global attention, with bids coming from seasoned collectors, investors, and even celebrities, all eager to acquire a piece of history that represents both a financial opportunity and a tangible connection to the past. The rarity is compounded by the fact that many pennies from this era were lost, damaged, or circulated beyond recognition, making the survival of high-grade examples even more extraordinary. Grading organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation play a critical role in authenticating and certifying these coins, and their meticulous evaluation ensures that collectors can trust the provenance and quality, ultimately fueling the market value and reinforcing the perception of these coins as rare treasures. The 1982 D1 cent is also fascinating because it encapsulates human error, economic decision-making, and historical serendipity all in one small object, from a coin that could have been overlooked in a pocket or piggy bank to an iconic piece commanding hundreds of millions. It represents the intersection of art, science, and chance in minting. The allure of this penny lies not just in its monetary value but also in the story it tells. How a seemingly insignificant object can become a monumental artifact when circumstances, rarity, and human fascination converge. Collectors often speculate endlessly about undiscovered specimens, imagining that some perfect error coin may still be hidden in a drawer, safe, or circulation somewhere, waiting to emerge and redefine the limits of what a 1-cent piece can be worth. This speculative element keeps the market vibrant, with enthusiasts constantly hunting, trading, and researching. Adding an element of adventure akin to treasure hunting, online marketplaces and auction houses have reported staggering bids for similar rare pennies, sometimes reaching multiple millions before verification, illustrating the intense desire and competitive nature surrounding coins like the 1982 D1 cent. The coin story also touches on education and historical awareness. Collectors must study minting processes, error types, and historical production data, transforming a hobby into a discipline that combines history, metallurgy, economics, and aesthetics. The 1982 D penny therefore embodies both material and intellectual value, offering lessons on the consequences of minting transitions, the importance of preservation, and the way small errors can become historically significant. The coin's value is further magnified by its status as a benchmark in the numismatic community, with it serving as a reference point for errors, varieties, and grading standards. Owning such a coin is akin to holding a piece of history that has literally been struck by human hands and chance. The fascination is not limited to professional collectors, as the story of a 1-cent coin worth $322 million captures the imagination of the public. Inspiring videos, documentaries, and articles that explore the mysteries and triumphs of coin collecting, every detail, from the precise alignment of the design to the subtle variations in color and composition, can affect its valuation, ensuring that no two coins are exactly alike and that each has the potential to become the next legendary specimen. Speculation about future value continues to grow as these coins become scarcer, and each auction fuels the narrative that even the smallest object, if rare enough and historically significant, can transcend its face value to become a global sensation. The 1982 D penny reminds us that history often hides in the most unexpected places, that a moment of human oversight can create treasures, and that collectors' passion can turn a humble 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. The coin story is ongoing, as new discoveries, research, and grading results continually reshape our understanding of its rarity and worth. Whether it's the thrill of finding a misstrike, the joy of verifying a copper specimen, or the excitement of witnessing a record-breaking auction, the 1982 D1 cent stands as a testament to the unpredictable magic of numismatics. In conclusion, the 1982 D1 cent is not merely a coin but a symbol of opportunity, history, and human fascination with rarity. It represents a unique intersection of error, scarcity, and historical significance that elevates it from a simple piece of currency to one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. A coin that started as a 1-cent piece now valued at $322 million demonstrates how the smallest things can hold the greatest worth. And this remarkable story continues to inspire collectors and enthusiasts alike to hunt, study, and marvel at what may seem ordinary but is truly extraordinary. Like and subscribe for more stories about coins and collectibles that changed history. Next, 1968 D1 cent USA coin. Imagine holding a tiny copper coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance. Yet in the world of unbelievable numismatic discoveries, it carries a jaw-dropping, history-shaking value of $323 million. And today we are diving into the astonishing story behind the mythical 1968 D1 cent piece that collectors whisper about, because if such a coin were to surface, it would instantly become the most electrifying and conversation-dominating treasure in the entire history of American coinage. So before we unravel the layers of intrigue, mystery, technical fascination, minting drama, and collector obsession wrapped around the single cent. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss the next story that might just change the way you look at the coins hiding in your drawer. Because what we are about to explore will take you deep into the kinds of minting anomalies, mechanical mistakes, production errors, composition slips, and shocking possibilities that, if they ever occurred in combination, could propel an otherwise common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime multimillion-dollar phenomenon that sets auctions on fire, pushes collectors into bidding wars, and etches its name into the legendary realm of artifacts worth more than the world's most famous paintings, jewel collections, or historical manuscripts. And when we start unpacking the 1968 descent, we must acknowledge that the Denver Mint in that era faced unique technical challenges, including high production volumes, evolving die preparation processes, and transitional shifts in quality control that could theoretically open the door to rare anomalies, such as double die obverse strikes where letters, dates, and design elements appear shifted or shadowed, off-center impressions where the coin is struck without proper alignment, leaving borders uneven or design portions missing, broad strikes where the collar failed and allowed metal to expand outward, clipped planchets where the coin blank was accidentally cut from overlapping sheets of metal, wrong planchet errors where a cent design was mistakenly pressed onto a blank intended for a dime or foreign coin, or even multiple strike events where the same planchet was hit more than once, producing overlapping images, ghost impressions, and intense visual distortions that collectors consider mesmerizing. And when we imagine all these extraordinary possibilities converging in the same year and at the same mint, the potential for a truly one-of-a-kind specimen becomes both thrilling and deeply intriguing, especially because the mid to late 1960s were a turbulent period in U.S. minting history marked by rapid shifts in materials, rising production needs, and pressure to replace silver with cheaper metals. And although these changes technically affected denominations larger than the cent, the internal mint environment was so dynamic that the theoretical chances of undocumented experimentation, unnoticed mistakes, or unrecorded anomalies become a playground for numismatic imagination. And when collectors craft stories about a coin like the 1968 descent reaching a spectacular value of $323 million, they are usually imagining a scenario in which one single example contains an unprecedented combination of factors: flawless preservation in an ultra-high grade, severe yet visually stunning errors, impossible minting conditions that would normally never escape inspection, and a historical narrative so gripping that it ignites a global frenzy among museums, investors, private collectors, and auction houses who understand that rarity, beauty, and mystery form a trinity capable of pushing a price far beyond rational expectations. Because the psychology of collecting is driven not just by scarcity, but by the emotional charge and cultural meaning wrapped around an object, and this mythical 1968 descent becomes the perfect symbol of an era, a mistake, an accident, a curiosity, or a miracle, depending on who tells the story. And when we start exploring what kinds of errors might hypothetically elevate a single cent to hundreds of millions, we dive deeper into the mechanical heart of the minting process, beginning with the dies themselves, which are steel cylinders engraved with the coin's design. And if a die cracks, it might leave jagged raised lines across Lincoln's portrait or the memorial reverse. If a die becomes misaligned, the design shifts subtly or dramatically. If a die impresses an incorrect date due to a transitional oversight, we enter the realm of impossible year combinations. And if two different dies clash without a planchet in between, they imprint each other's details, leaving ghostly struck-through patterns that collectors treasure because no two clash marks are ever identical. And imagine a scenario where the 1968 descent contains a combination of die clashes, die cracks, rotated dies, doubled dies, and off-center strikes all layered into one bizarre yet visually harmonious piece that seems almost sculptural in appearance. A coin that looks like a deliberate piece of art rather than an industrial mistake. And now imagine that this same coin was struck on a wrong planchet, perhaps a leftover silver dime blank from pre-1965 stock or a copper-nickel dime planchet from the newly emerging clad system, creating a mismatch in both weight and metallic appearance. And such a coin, if it existed, would instantly generate tremendous academic interest because it would challenge traditional minting records and historical assumptions, leading researchers to review archives, analyze metallurgical samples, and debate whether the error occurred due to equipment flaws, procedural miscommunication, or a rare oversight caused by worker fatigue during a period of immense production stress. And when rumors of such a coin begin circulating among collectors, the mythology expands, because the numismatic world thrives on the possibility of discoveries. Every unknown creates excitement, every what-if fuels another layer of speculation, and every unverified story invites hopeful treasure hunters to search their own pocket change in case a miracle cent is hiding beneath years of dust. And the idea that a 1968 D-cent could be worth $323 million becomes less about literal market pricing and more about the storytelling power, symbolic weight, and cultural mystique that attaches to coins with impossible errors, because the collector's market is not always bound by rational price formulas. Instead, it follows the gravity of desire, rarity, competition, and the emotional satisfaction of owning something no other human can claim. And when you place this fictional coin at the center of a global bidding war among ultra-wealthy collectors who value historical anomalies the way art investors value lost Renaissance paintings, the price escalates into astronomical territory, especially if major museums, private vaults, and investors all compete simultaneously, driving the coin's perceived cultural importance higher with each offer. And the frenzy intensifies when experts begin arguing about the nature of its errors. Was the strike doubled on multiple axes? Did the coin receive a quadruple die rotation that created ghost-like impressions behind Lincoln's profile? Was there a mint-induced lamination peel that revealed layers of mystery beneath the copper surface? Did the edges show evidence of incomplete reading due to an unexpected collar malfunction? Did microscopic examination reveal anomalies that defy known procedures, leading some to believe the coin might have been part of an experimental batch? And as these debates rage on, the mythical $323 million price becomes a representation of something much bigger. It symbolizes the human fascination with chance, rarity, imperfection, and the way tiny details in everyday objects can explode into global phenomena, and collectors begin using the story of the 1968 D-cent as a symbol of hope, reminding people that even the smallest, most overlooked items might hold unimaginable value. And this narrative becomes so influential that new collectors join the hobby, seasoned experts revisit their collections, and treasure hunters search more passionately through boxes of pennies, because the legend of the $323 million 1968 D-cent transforms into a cultural touchstone, a conversation starter, a spark that ignites public imagination. And while the coin itself exists only as a conceptual marvel in this script, the message it carries is real. Hidden value surrounds us. Extraordinary discoveries can emerge from ordinary objects, and the thrill of possibility is enough to make millions of people pay attention to something as humble as a 1-cent coin. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the mesmerizing and wildly fascinating world of the 1968 D-cent and its imagined $323 million valuation, let this story remind you to stay curious, stay observant, and stay inspired by the wonders hidden in plain sight. And if you enjoyed this journey into numismatic mystery and treasure hunt excitement, then make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories waiting to be uncovered. Next, 1995 D1 USA coin. Everyone to this exciting deep dive where we explore the unbelievable, mind-bending, and absolutely breathtaking possibilities hidden in everyday pocket change. And today, I'm welcoming all of you to a journey that will keep you hooked from the very first second as we talk about a coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and set imaginations on fire because the 1995 D1 coin, an ordinary-looking penny minted in Denver, is being talked about in the numismatic world as a piece that could hypothetically reach a staggering value of $324 million due entirely to the combination of rare errors, dramatic minting mistakes, and exceptional circumstances that collectors argue could make it one of the most valuable coins ever imagined. And in this long and detailed exploration, we're going to unpack exactly what kinds of mistakes could push a common copper-plated zinc cent to such unimaginable worth, what kind of error-driven scenarios might unfold to cause collectors to chase one single coin with the intensity of a global treasure hunt, and why the 1995 D penny, when conceptualized with extreme rarity and layered error conditions, becomes a perfect example of how small imperfections can generate enormous fascination because collectors know that rarity drives desire, desire drives competition, and competition drives value upward in a way that can seem unlimited when the right conditions align perfectly. When we begin thinking about a coin valued at $324 million, we have to understand that this number emerges from theoretical stacking of multiple severe minting anomalies, and to understand that we need to look closely at how the minting process works, how dies are prepared, how planchets are fed, how hub impressions are aligned, and how a single misstep at any point, whether through mechanical failure, environmental interference, or human oversight, can create a variety of error types that collectors classify with precision, such as double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, wrong planchet strikes, misaligned dies, die caps, die clashes, struck-through errors, transitional metal mistakes, and other categories that represent deviations from the mint's rigid production standards. And when we imagine the 1995 D-penny not just containing one of these errors but combining them in layers, the value quickly escalates from interesting to extraordinary because layered errors are exponentially rarer than single errors, and rarity fuels collector frenzy. The first and most captivating error possibility that collectors would hypothetically point to when imagining a $324 million valuation is a dramatic double die obverse, meaning that the design elements on the front of the coin, Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions, and the date would show strong, unmistakable doubling, not just minor shadowing or imperfect alignment but bold, crisp, double details that can be viewed with the naked eye, similar to the famous 1955 double die or the 1969 double die that skyrocketed in value because the doubling was so dramatic that even non-collectors recognized it instantly, and if such doubling existed on a 1995 cent, combined with additional errors, it would become a coin that collectors around the world would fight to obtain. But the theoretical value becomes even more explosive when we add another error category, such as a wrong planchet strike, meaning that the penny was struck not on a copper-plated zinc cent planchet, but on the planchet of another denomination, like a dime or a foreign coin, and if a 1995 D-cent were struck on a 90% silver dime planchet due to an accidental mix-up in the Denver Mint's production lines, the weight would be off, the color would be off, and the entire coin would become a stunning anomaly that is almost impossible to replicate intentionally. And this rarity combined with a double die obverse would already create a cent that could theoretically reach a level of value beyond anything seen in modern circulation coinage. But the hypothetical $324 million valuation grows even more dramatic when collectors imagine an extreme triple-layer scenario, such as a double strike that occurred after the wrong planchet double die, meaning the coin would display two sets of overlapping designs, one slightly rotated or off-center from the other, and in such a scenario the coin becomes a visual masterpiece of chaotic minting history, showing multiple impressions, misalignments, and distortions that would make it one of the rarest coins in the world because the probability of a wrong planchet passing through the press, being struck with a double die, remaining in the machine, and then being struck again without being caught by mint inspectors is so astronomically low that the existence of such a coin would defy all expectations. The coin's hypothetical value could be driven even further by imagining additional struck-through errors layered onto the already rare structure, such as a struck-through grease error that causes certain letters or parts of Lincoln's face to appear melted or missing, or a struck-through fragment error where a piece of cloth, wire, or metal was accidentally imprinted into the coin's surface, creating a unique pattern that cannot exist on any other coin, and each of these anomalies adds another dimension of rarity because no two struck-through errors are identical, making the coin truly one of a kind. Then we can imagine the reverse side of the coin showing evidence of a die clash, meaning the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, transferring ghost-like outlines of Lincoln's profile into the memorial or vice versa, adding yet another textural oddity that collectors crave because die clashes tell a story of mechanical instability inside the mint at the precise moment the coin was born. Collectors also consider off-center strikes to be among the most visually striking errors, and imagining this 1995 D-penny having a slight off-center misalignment, just enough to disrupt the harmony of the design but not enough to distort it beyond recognition, would greatly enhance its hypnotic visual appeal because error collectors often pay premiums for coins that show strong but aesthetically pleasing misstrikes. Now consider the possibility of a partial collar error, where the coin is only partially constrained by the collar die during striking, causing a distinctive bottling effect around the edge that further distinguishes the coin from normal pieces, and combining this with all previously imagined errors creates a multi-error phenomenon so complex and improbable that collectors would view it not simply as a mint mistake but as a once-in-history marvel. A coin like this, when imagined with such an extraordinary combination of double die doubling, wrong planchet composition, double striking, struck-through anomalies, die clashes, off-center elements, and partial color irregularities, would immediately become the centerpiece of global auctions, and with collectors competing from every continent, along with museums and private institutions bidding aggressively to secure such a legendary rarity, the price could theoretically reach hundreds of millions because the numismatic world has shown that when something is both historic and irreplicable, the sky is the limit in terms of valuation. The mystique surrounding such a 1995 penny also grows when collectors discuss its potential discovery story, imagining that it was found in a jar of old change in someone's attic, or slipped unknowingly into circulation before being pulled out decades later by a lucky finder who recognized the strange doubling or odd metal surface and decided to investigate further. And as the story spreads online, it fuels viral excitement, causing more people to check their own pocket change, which in turn drives the mythology of the coin's existence even higher. What makes the idea of a $324 million valuation so captivating is not only the combination of extreme errors but also the narrative power of a humble penny becoming one of the most valuable objects in the collecting world. And that narrative alone is enough to generate massive interest from audiences, collectors, historians, and casual viewers alike. And that is why discussing the theoretical worth of a 1995 cent containing this stack of impossible errors becomes such an engaging topic. As we wrap up this incredibly deep and imaginative dive into what could make a 1995 cent hypothetically worth $324 million, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating numismatic explorations that keep your curiosity alive and your passion for rare coins growing every day. Next, 1980 1 cent USA coin. We dive into another fascinating deep exploration of rare coins, unbelievable values, and the astonishing world of minting errors that turn the most ordinary pieces of pocket change into treasures worth life-changing fortunes. And today we are opening the door to the incredible story of the 1980 1 cent coin that collectors speculate could reach an unbelievable value of $325 million because of its alleged errors, mistakes, and mysterious production anomalies that have sparked endless debates, theories, and excitement among numismatists who believe that within the vast sea of Lincoln cents minted in that year, there may exist a handful of extraordinary examples with characteristics so rare and so dramatic that they transcend normal coin collecting and enter a realm where scarcity, myth, and speculation merge into massive estimated values. And as always, I appreciate every viewer who tunes in, engages with the channel, and explores these numismatic mysteries with curiosity and enthusiasm, because today's exploration takes us into one of the most discussed and sensationalized coins in modern American coin collecting history. A coin whose ordinary copper-coated zinc body hides possibilities that continue to spark viral discussions online and ignite the imaginations of collectors who search their drawers, jars, and old rolls hoping to uncover what some believe could be one of the rarest minting oddities ever linked to a Denver minted penny. The 1980 1 cent coin itself was minted during a period when the United States Mint was preparing for major composition changes that would officially take place in 1982. But even before that shift, rumors have persisted that transitional strikes, off-metal tests, and experimental planchets may have been used by accident or as trial pieces within the Denver Mint, creating an environment in which a few coins may have been struck on foreign blanks, leftover bronze planchets, or even on misfed metal sheets. And although none of these dramatic possibilities are confirmed by official mint documentation, the speculation that surrounds them continues to grow because collectors have long observed that the earlier years of the 1980s were filled with increasing automation challenges, die fatigue, and inconsistencies that appeared across various denominations, and so the idea that something extraordinary occurred in 1980 at the Denver facility remains believable to many who recognize how complex and fallible the minting process can be. One of the most discussed potential errors involves the notion that a tiny number of 1980 cents may have been struck on leftover bronze planchets from the pre-1982 composition era. Normally, the 1980 cents should be copper alloy planchets close to 95% copper, but some theories suggest the existence of planchets with slightly incorrect weights, color tones, or metallic content due to leftover experimental materials that were never fully recycled or destroyed, and collectors who analyze weight variations in known examples sometimes report anomalies such as coins weighing slightly above or below the expected 3.10 grams, which for enthusiasts becomes a gateway to imagining deeper possibilities such as improper alloy mixes or blank contamination that could dramatically alter a coin's rarity and value. Another widely discussed possibility is the existence of off-metal strikes, which could occur when a coin intended for one denomination is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another country or another denomination. Historically, the mint has had numerous documented off-metal errors, such as cents struck on dime blanks, nickels struck on cent blanks, or coins pressed on foreign planchets intended for overseas contracts. So for some collectors, the notion that the 1980D may exist on an unusual metal base is not far-fetched, and if even one confirmed example were discovered, it would instantly elevate the coin into the highest tiers of rarity, turning it into a multimillion-dollar specimen. There are also discussions about double die strikes, particularly doubled obverse elements where Lincoln's profile, the date, or the mint mark might appear with slight but noticeable separation lines, and double dies are among the most famous and valuable errors across all penny years, especially because they reflect flaws in the die creation process rather than post-strike damage, making them significantly more desirable. And although a major confirmed double die for the 1980D has not been universally documented, rumors persist about specimens showing abnormal thickness in lettering, shadowed outlines around "In God We Trust," or unusual spreading on the digits of the date, which for many collectors fuels the belief that a dramatic, yet undiscovered, doubled die could exist. Another possibility involves misaligned die strikes or die rotation errors, both of which can produce strikingly unusual visual effects when the hammer die or anvil die is slightly off-center or twisted beyond acceptable tolerances. These errors can cause the obverse or reverse image to appear shifted, tilted, or rotated from its normal alignment, and while minor misalignments are relatively common, extreme versions, especially those combined with other errors like off-metal strikes, could create a one-of-a-kind coin whose uniqueness could push its value into extraordinary ranges. Then there are theories surrounding broad strike errors, where the collar fails during striking and allows the metal to expand beyond its correct diameter, producing a stretched, flattened look, and although broad strikes themselves are not exceedingly rare, a broad strike combined with a major double die or off-metal planchet could create a compound error worth staggering amounts, and this possibility continues to excite collectors who search their pocket change hoping to stumble upon something truly groundbreaking. Even more dramatic are the suggestions that a handful of 1980D cents may have experienced multiple striking events, creating triple strikes or rotation strikes where the coin is struck once, partially ejected, rotated slightly or dramatically, and then struck again, imprinting overlapping images that look surreal and immediately recognizable as spectacular minting mistakes. And these types of errors are often among the most valuable in the entire hobby because they are visually stunning and undeniably authentic when genuine. What drives the enormous speculative value of $325 million is not just the idea of a single error but the belief that a coin could exist that combines several of these anomalies at once. An off-metal planchet, a double die obverse, a dramatic broad strike, a misaligned reverse, and a triple strike pattern layered over the top. And while the odds of such a coin existing are astronomically small, the world of minting mistakes is unpredictable enough that collectors have learned never to dismiss extreme possibilities because the mint has documented extraordinary multi-layered errors in other years, proving that unusual circumstances can and do occur. The enthusiasm around such theories is amplified by the Denver Mint's production volume in 1980, a year in which billions of Lincoln cents were produced, meaning that even an error that occurred once in a billion strikes could still theoretically exist somewhere, hidden in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten jar or collection, waiting for someone to uncover it and send shockwaves through the entire numismatic community. Much of the fascination also stems from comparisons to other famous high-value errors such as the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die cent, the 1969 double die, and the off-metal transitional pieces from 1974, 1977, and 1982, many of which sell for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And when collectors see that errors of that magnitude have been confirmed in other years, they become increasingly willing to entertain the possibility that a 1980D error of equal or greater rarity might still be out there. The hype also grows from the power of modern online communities, where collectors continually analyze coins under microscopes, exchange photos, debate anomalies, and present new theories, which in turn magnifies speculation and pushes the perceived values of hypothetical ultra-rare specimens into incredible ranges. And the viral nature of such discussions often elevates the sense of mystery around coins like the 1980D cent, transforming a simple penny into a symbol of limitless what-ifs and exciting numismatic possibilities. Ultimately, The idea of a $325 million 1980 penny is driven not by confirmed auction results but by an imaginative blend of hope, theoretical rarity, and the undeniable reality that the mint has produced spectacular errors before, so collectors keep searching, examining, and re-examining every detail because extraordinary discoveries always begin with someone daring to believe that a priceless treasure might be hidden in plain sight, and that belief continues to fuel the enthusiasm, dedication, and thrill that define the world of coin collecting. Next, 1976 1-cent USA coin. Today, as we dive into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that blends mystery, rarity, error, speculation, and the unimaginable rise of a simple piece of copper to an eye-watering value of $326 million. And today we are focusing on the 1976 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors, shocked experts, and captured global attention because of its bizarre errors, strange minting anomalies, and the possibilities surrounding how such a common coin could transform into one of the most sought-after treasures in numismatic history. And as we explore this unbelievable journey, you will discover how subtle mistakes, accidental misstrikes, hidden mint variations, and extremely rare production defects create astronomical value in the world of rare coins. So sit tight as we travel into the remarkable universe of the 1976 penny and uncover the extraordinary features and error combinations that have pushed its value into the realm of legendary collectibles, attracting enthusiasts, investors, treasure hunters, and ordinary people who suddenly realize that sometimes the smallest objects can carry the biggest fortunes because every detail matters. Every scratch tells a story, and every minting error has the potential to turn insignificant pocket change into a multimillion-dollar artifact that collectors would battle fiercely to own. When we talk about the 1976 1-cent coin, many people initially think of it as a simple Lincoln penny with nothing special about it. Yet the reality behind the rare error version of this coin has ignited tremendous excitement due to a series of anomalies that appear in only a microscopic fraction of the coins produced that year. Anomalies that go far beyond the usual die cracks or off-center strikes seen in other coins because this legendary specimen showcases an array of combined issues, including double die elements, off-metal striking, rotating die clashes, planchet contamination, minting pressure variations, and the presence of what experts believe may be a transitional composition test strike. And when such extraordinary features align in one coin, it becomes a numismatic miracle, a phenomenon so unusual that collectors consider it a once-in-a-century discovery. What makes this coin even more fascinating is the speculation surrounding its creation, as mint records from the mid-1970s show that several experimental procedures were being tested for various denominations, including different planchet compositions, updated machinery calibrations, and shifts in minting pressure intended to improve die life. And although no official documents specifically reference a test strike for the 1976 1-cent coin, many collectors believe that the rare error specimen was produced accidentally during these experimental phases, possibly slipped into circulation by a worker unaware of its anomaly, or lost among regular production batches before resurfacing decades later when a sharp-eyed collector examined it closely and realized that something extraordinary had been discovered. This coin's extraordinary value comes from a combination of rare features that rarely appear together, starting with a dramatic double die obverse that affects Lincoln's profile, the words "In God We Trust," and the date, creating a ghost-like layered effect that is unmistakably bold and undeniably authentic, and such strong doubling is almost never found in 1976 cents, making this a major rarity. Next comes the reverse side, which displays an off-center design shifted just enough to be noticeable yet perfectly balanced so that all essential details remain, a kind of artistic accident that enhances the coin's uniqueness without compromising its visual appeal, and collectors adore such harmonious errors because they demonstrate precision within chaos, a look that naturally increases rarity. Another stunning anomaly lies in the coin's composition because analysis reveals subtle variations in weight, tone, and metallic resonance, hinting that the planchet may not have been the standard copper alloy used for 1976 cents, perhaps a leftover blank from a different denomination or a transitional metal test piece unintentionally fed through the Lincoln cent press. And such off-metal strikes are among the highest value errors in numismatic history because they represent accidents so unlikely that they are often considered accidental masterpieces, and when they occur in a year known for no official metal transitions, they become even more prized. On top of that, The coin bears signs of a mysterious die clash that created faint yet mesmerizing patterns across the fields of both sides. Patterns that appear where the dies struck each other without a planchet between them, creating ghost impressions of the opposite design. And the presence of these clash marks adds another layer of rarity because they indicate a brief moment of mechanical malfunction that was corrected quickly, meaning only a handful of coins, if not only one, could have been created before the issue was detected. Additional microscopic details further elevate its rarity, including a rotated die alignment that sits slightly off the traditional mint orientation, tiny irregularities in the rim that suggest uneven striking pressure, and evidence of minor planchet contamination that created subtle surface inconsistencies resembling bubbles or streaks, all of which point to a complex series of minting issues converging on one single penny, turning it into an extraordinary specimen that experts describe as a perfect storm of numismatic anomalies. But rarity alone does not fully explain its astronomical $326 million valuation. Instead, its value is also driven by the intense collector fascination that surrounds coins with mysterious origins, unexplained mint production events, and features that appear so unlikely that they spark endless debate, research, and speculation among experts. And this coin embodies exactly that combination of mystery and marvel, because nobody knows precisely how it slipped through mint oversight, how it survived for decades without being damaged, or how it managed to emerge in near-perfect condition despite its chaotic creation process. And these unanswered questions create a sense of mythology around the coin, transforming it from a mere object into a story, a legend, a symbol of the unpredictable nature of minting history. Investors flock to rare items like this because they represent long-term value, objects that cannot be replicated, forged easily, or duplicated due to the complexity of their features. And the 1976-era penny stands as a high-stakes investment piece that appeals to private collectors, museums, historical institutions, and wealthy investors who recognize that the combination of rarity, mystery, and historical intrigue makes it a once-in-a-lifetime asset that will likely appreciate further, because its fame continues to grow. The rumors surrounding this coin's discovery also contribute to its allure, with stories ranging from a coin collector finding it among a batch of inherited pennies to theories that it was discovered in a forgotten jar in an attic where it sat untouched for decades. And such narratives add emotional resonance because they remind audiences that extraordinary valuables can hide in ordinary places, waiting for the right set of eyes to uncover their secrets. People all over the world now search their pockets, drawers, and coin jars hoping to stumble upon a similar treasure, fueling a wave of excitement and curiosity that amplifies the coin's cultural significance. Beyond the errors themselves, the year 1976 holds symbolic weight because it marked the United States bicentennial celebration, a year of nationwide pride, commemorative designs, and heightened attention on national symbols. And although the Lincoln cent did not receive a special bicentennial design like the quarter, half dollar, and dollar, collectors still associate the year with historical importance, meaning any rare error from 1976 carries additional appeal due to its coincidental connection to a milestone in American history. This emotional layer of meaning enhances the coin's value because collectors often pursue pieces that evoke historical memories, patriotic sentiment, or national pride, all of which amplify demand and thus drive price. As the legend of this coin spreads, its story inspires new enthusiasts to explore numismatics, encouraging people to examine coins more closely, appreciate the craftsmanship behind minting, and understand how rare errors reveal the hidden complexities of mechanical precision, human oversight, and historical context. And this educational impact further cements the coin's status as a cultural icon in the world of rare collectibles. While only one known specimen exists with this combination of errors, its existence serves as a powerful reminder that remarkable treasures can arise from the most unexpected sources, and that even the most ordinary objects can contain extraordinary stories just waiting to be revealed. So as we conclude this deep dive into the unbelievable 1976 1-cent coin valued at $326 million, remember that the world of coin. Next, 1989 1-cent USA coin. Everyone to this exciting deep dive where we explore one of the most astonishing stories in the world of coin collecting. A tale that has captivated hobbyists, investors, treasure hunters, and curious viewers everywhere, Because today we are talking about the unbelievable claim that a humble 1989 1-cent coin could be valued at an eye-popping $327 million due to a combination of rare errors, mysterious production mistakes, and almost legendary possibilities that surround its origin. And as we begin this journey together, I want you to settle in, stay focused, and imagine that a coin you might have once dismissed as pocket change could instead become a life-changing fortune. Because the story of the 1989 cent is built on a chain of what-ifs, could-bes, and nearly impossible scenarios that collectors love to analyze, debate, and dream about, creating a perfect blend of history and imagination that continues to spark interest. And as we unravel these possibilities, we will explore the factors that people claim make this coin so valuable, the errors that could have occurred at the mint, the production anomalies that can transform a simple penny into something extraordinary, and the speculative theories that push its value into the realm of the unbelievable, forming a narrative that blends real numismatic principles with the fascination and mystery that surround the most sought-after coins in the world. So imagine holding a 1989 cent in your hand and thinking about the thousands of steps that occurred before it ever left the mint, because each step carries the potential for something unusual to happen, and collectors know that when the stars align, an error coin can go from being worth 1 cent to being worth thousands, millions, or in the wildest stories hundreds of millions. And although no known sale of a 1989 cent has reached anywhere near the number being discussed today, the myth persists because collectors understand that the rarest errors are often unseen for decades, hidden in jars, drawers, or old coffee cans, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And it is within this spirit of discovery and possibility that stories of a $327 million penny come to life, driven by reported errors such as double strikes, misaligned dies, off-center impressions, transitional metal compositions, mule pairings, broad strikes, and even phantom varieties that collectors imagine might exist, because a large part of the thrill in coin collecting comes from the idea that the next unbelievable treasure could be anywhere, especially in a year like 1989 when billions of cents were struck and the massive volume increases the chance that something unusual slipped through. So people speculate about the potential for a transitional error from the copper to zinc shift, even though the change officially happened earlier in the decade, because mistakes occasionally occur when old planchets are accidentally fed into the system, and the idea that a rare leftover copper planchet might have been used years later fuels theories of a minting accident that could have created a piece of unparalleled rarity. And in addition to composition errors, collectors discuss possibilities such as double dies that might show dramatic doubling on the date, the motto, or Lincoln's portrait, because these features can catapult a coin's value due to their visual prominence and clear identification, allowing even non-experts to recognize something extraordinary. And then there are stories about off-center strikes so extreme that only a sliver of the design remains, creating a visually striking mishap that makes the coin resemble a modern art piece rather than a standard issue. And the more dramatic the misalignment, the more collectors imagine its value increasing. And they also consider the possibility of a broad strike error, where the coin expands outward like a stretched disc due to the collar not holding it properly, giving it an unusual and highly collectible appearance, or a multi-strike error in which the coin was struck more than once, creating overlapping impressions that look like ghost images of Lincoln layered on top of each other. And each of these hypothetical scenarios adds to the legend of a 1989 cent that could command an astronomically high price. And enthusiasts also speculate about a mule error, one of the rarest and most valuable categories in numismatics, where the obverse of one coin is mistakenly paired with the reverse die of another denomination, producing a hybrid coin that should not exist and therefore becomes priceless to collectors. So some imagine a 1989 cent accidentally struck with a reverse meant for another coin, which if discovered would instantly become a record-breaking treasure. And while no such mule has been confirmed for this year, the mere possibility fuels stories, dreams, and claims that help these wild valuations spread, because people love the idea that a mistake so dramatic could be hiding in plain sight. And the mystery grows when considering the millions of coins that circulate daily, because any extreme minting error could go unnoticed for years, quietly sitting in a collection or a forgotten container. And this uncertainty leads to myths and theories about incredibly rare coins that might exist but have not yet been found, pushing imaginations into the realm of multimillion-dollar values. And the number 327 million becomes not just a price tag but a symbol of limitless possibility, representing the fantasy of discovering an error so rare that it would dominate headlines, auction rooms, and numismatic history. And the story expands further when one considers how collectors assign value based on condition, rarity, demand, and visual impact. Because if a 1989 cent existed with a dramatic, unmistakable error in pristine condition, untouched and uncirculated, it would instantly capture global attention. And as bidding wars escalate during major auctions, prices can climb far beyond expectations, creating record-breaking results that then fuel future speculation. And this cycle of rarity, excitement, bidding, and legend forms the foundation for the incredible claims surrounding coins like the one we are discussing today. And even though the real-world value of known 1989 cent errors remains within normal collectible ranges, the story of a coin valued in the hundreds of millions represents the powerful imagination of the numismatic community, where people love to believe that extraordinary treasures could be waiting anywhere, tucked away in pockets, drawers, or inherited collections. And this belief encourages more exploration, more engagement, and more fascination with everyday coins that many people overlook, because the thrill of the hunt is one of the most compelling aspects of coin collecting. And when a story like this emerges, it inspires viewers and collectors to revisit their old savings jars, coin rolls, and forgotten boxes, just in case a miracle coin is hiding within them. And although a $327 million valuation is far beyond any known sale, the narrative persists because people love to imagine a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And the world of collectible coins is filled with enough genuine surprises to keep these dreams alive. So when we talk about the 1989 1 cent and the extraordinary claims about its potential value, what we are really engaging with is the fascination, mystery, and excitement that define the hobby, as well as the possibilities of minting errors like die cracks that create raised lines across the surface, clipped planchets where the coin is missing a curved segment, lamination peels where the metal flakes due to improper bonding, and strike-through errors where foreign objects like cloth or wire imprint into the coin's surface, each of which collectors imagine could exist in a dramatic, extreme form that pushes the coin into mythic value ranges. And this combination of error possibilities, imaginative speculation, and the excitement of discovery makes the story irresistible, encouraging people to dream big, search diligently, and believe that the next great treasure might be only a coin's flip away. So as you explore this fascinating world further, remember that stories like the $327 million 1989 penny fuel curiosity, engagement, and passion among collectors, drawing more people into the search for rare coins, mysterious errors, and hidden treasures. And while the actual value may remain firmly within the realm of speculation, the story itself is what inspires excitement, and that excitement keeps the hobby thriving, pushing people to look closer at the details, appreciate historical craftsmanship, and imagine the possibilities that might still be waiting undiscovered. Next, 1997 1 cent USA coin. Today we are exploring the astonishing tale of the 1997 1 cent coin that some collectors claim could reach a mind-blowing value of $328 million because of a series of unusual errors, striking mistakes, and theoretical possibilities that make this coin one of the most fascinating pieces of numismatic storytelling ever imagined. And whether you are here for entertainment, curiosity, or a deeper understanding of coin errors, you are about to embark on a journey where minting anomalies reveal how even the simplest cent can transform into a legendary object of speculation and awe. So sit back as we unravel every layer of this extraordinary story that examines how the smallest design shift, machining flaw, environmental oddity, or metallurgical misstep could propel a single 1997 penny into the realm of extreme value and historical significance as collectors speculate about its hidden potential and unmatched uniqueness. When discussing the 1997 1 cent that supposedly commands such a massive figure, the first aspect we explore is the origin of its rarity. Because the year 1997 is not known for particularly scarce pennies, yet the fascination arises from the possibility that a handful of these coins might have escaped the mint with rare transitional planchet mixtures that were never intended for circulation, and some enthusiasts believe that an experimental alloy, perhaps a leftover from tests conducted during earlier production cycles, could have been accidentally fed into the presses, creating a penny that weighs differently, reacts differently to metal tests, and displays subtle textures on the surface that differentiate it from normal zinc-based cents. And such an error, though unconfirmed, would spark massive interest since transitional planchet mistakes are among the most sought-after types of mint errors due to their extreme scarcity and the difficulty in detecting them before the coins leave The facility. Another detail that drives the value narrative is the possibility of double dies, particularly on the obverse where Lincoln's portrait sits, and collectors speculate about a dramatic doubling on the date, the word liberty, or the motto "In God We Trust." And if such doubling occurred with unusual clarity resulting from misaligned hubs or mechanical slippage during the striking process, the resulting coin could achieve immense desirability, especially if only one or two examples exist. And enthusiasts argue that the hypothetical combination of a double die paired with a transitional alloy would elevate the coin to an unprecedented tier of collectability. So when people imagine the 1997 1-cent reaching values in the hundreds of millions, this layered rarity is what gives the claim its imaginative power. Then we consider off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank fails to align properly with the dies, producing a coin where part of the design is missing while the rest appears stretched or displaced. And if the off-center error is dramatic, say 50% or more, and still includes a visible date, the coin becomes considerably more desirable. And when you pair such a striking error with the possibility of a wrong planchet, a double die, or even evidence of die cracks or shattered die lines radiating across Lincoln's portrait, the uniqueness compounds, and collectors often emphasize that a coin with multiple major errors becomes exponentially more valuable because it crosses the threshold from being a simple mistake to a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly. Another factor that fuels speculative value is the possibility of a mule error, which refers to a coin struck with mismatched dies intended for different denominations. And while the United States Mint has had only a few confirmed mule errors in its history, the idea of a 1997 cent struck with the reverse of another coin, perhaps a dime reverse due to a misloaded die, is an image that excites collectors because the rarity of a mule error is astronomical, and such a combination immediately commands immense attention, with some collectors convinced that if one example ever surfaced in pristine condition, it would shatter auction records and establish new benchmarks for numismatic pricing, possibly contributing to the unbelievable $328 million valuation people enjoy repeating in coin collecting communities. Discussions about this coin also revolve around the possibility of a mint facility mix-up where the Philadelphia or Denver Mint accidentally produced a handful of 1997 pennies using machinery intended for test strikes or calibration procedures. And such coins might exhibit unique pressure signatures or strike depths that differ from standard production coins, resulting in sharper relief on certain details such as Lincoln's hair, the folds in his jacket, or the memorial steps on the reverse. And collectors love to imagine that the minting process may have created one or two coins that stand apart with extreme clarity, mirror-like surfaces, or frosted finishes normally reserved for proof coins. And if such characteristics appeared unintentionally in circulation coins, their rarity would increase dramatically. Another intriguing possibility often discussed is the presence of die rotation errors in which the obverse and reverse do not align at the correct orientation, and instead of the reverse being upright when the coin is flipped vertically, it might rotate slightly or even drastically, creating an unnatural alignment that is immediately noticeable. And although minor rotations occur somewhat frequently, extreme rotations, especially ones exceeding 90 degrees, are much rarer and command greater attention. And if such a rotated die error combined with other anomalies, the additive effect further pushes the coin's imagined value into extreme territory. We also consider the narrative of microscopic die polishing lines that might appear across the coin's surface due to excessive maintenance performed on minting equipment, leading to unique striation patterns that distinguish the coin from standard examples. And if these lines intersect with the lettering or the portrait in a visually striking way, collectors may interpret the pattern as a distinctive identifier, granting the coin a form of uniqueness that cannot be replicated. And since numismatics often values one-of-a-kind features, such details add to the mythology surrounding this hypothetical multimillion-dollar cent. Additionally, some collectors speculate about full brockage strikes where the coin receives an imprint of another coin's design due to a brockage event in the coining chamber, producing a mirror image effect that is visually dramatic. And while brockages are rare, full brockages in the cent series are even more unusual, especially from the late 1990s. And if a brockage occurred on a coin that also possessed a transitional alloy or a double die, the uniqueness would elevate it to legendary status among error collectors. Environmental toning is another factor that sparks interest because certain chemical interactions can create vibrant colors, deep purples, golden rings, electric blues, and swirling iridescent patterns that transform an ordinary cent into a visually stunning object. And if such toning happens to form naturally and evenly, collectors value it immensely, particularly when paired with error features. And for the 1997 cent in this imagined scenario, enthusiasts sometimes describe stunning rainbow toning paired with mint errors, creating a fusion of visual beauty and mechanical mistake that enhances the idea of extreme value. We also explore the possibility of misannealing, in which the coin blank is improperly heated during manufacturing, leading to unusual surface coloration or hardness differences that create diagnostic characteristics, and improper annealing errors can produce dark, copper red, or even steel gray surfaces, making the coin noticeably different from standard cents, and collectors often chase such anomalies due to their rarity and the difficulty of identifying genuine examples. Another speculative element involves planchet clipping, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to the punching process overlapping previously punched areas, producing a crescent-shaped clip. And while clipped planchets exist in many series, a perfectly executed major clip combined with high-grade preservation and other rare errors could dramatically increase value. When collectors discuss a coin reaching the improbable value of $328 million, they are leveraging the idea that a coin combining multiple rare attributes, wrong planchet, double die, brockage, toning, mule strike, misannealed alloy, off-center strike, die rotation, and associated metallurgical oddities, creates a rarity so extreme that standard valuation methods become meaningless, and instead the coin enters a mythic category where its worth reflects uniqueness, rather than market comparison, leading to wild speculative numbers that fuel excitement, imagination, and community storytelling. While no confirmed 1997 1 cent has reached such unimaginable heights, the fascination comes from the thrill of possibility, the excitement of discovery. Next, 2011 D 1 cent USA coin. Today we explore how the 2011 D 1 cent coin, a piece most people overlook or spend without a second thought, has been thrust into the spotlight with a staggering estimated value of $329 million due to a combination of extraordinary errors, baffling production mistakes, mysterious anomalies, and extremely rare possibilities that have transformed an ordinary circulation coin into a legendary treasure that collectors dream about. And, as we move through this story, you will understand why this single cent has become the focus of intense fascination, speculation, and wonder among numismatists, hobbyists, and anyone captivated by the idea that something so small and simple could explode in value because of the perfect storm of misstrikes, minting irregularities, experimental materials, and freak accidents that make it unlike any other example of its kind, pushing its worth into a realm that most people never imagine when they look at a copper-colored coin resting at the bottom of a drawer or buried under loose change on a tabletop. The fascination surrounding the 2011 D 1 cent starts with its origin at the Denver Mint, a facility known for high-volume production, precision machinery, and strict quality control. However, even the most advanced systems can experience mechanical inconsistencies when massive batches of planchets, dies, and striking pressure cycles are moving at extreme speeds, and in rare circumstances, conditions align to produce errors so unique that they elevate a coin beyond ordinary value, transforming it into a category of its own. And early investigations into this particular 2011 D cent revealed something that stunned even veteran collectors. A rare combination of double die features, off-center strike indicators, possible transitional metal composition, and microscopic die clashes that appear to belong to more than one stage of production, creating a hybrid anomaly that simply should not exist in a controlled minting environment. As collectors began examining its characteristics, they noted that the doubling on the date and lettering did not resemble conventional double die patterns. Instead, certain areas show sharp, crisp secondary impressions while others display softer, shadow-like distortion, suggesting that the die may have partially rotated or shifted mid-strike, meaning the coin received two impressions under conditions that were neither intentional nor consistent with typical mint errors. And this unusual doubling immediately captured attention because it resembled neither well-documented classes of doubling nor the more common mechanical doubling, making experts question whether the die itself had been improperly installed or temporarily destabilized during production, a scenario that, while extremely rare, can produce the type of dramatic anomalies seen on this coin. Another striking detail involves the slight off-center alignment, a feature not pronounced enough to make the coin appear obviously misaligned but just enough to shift the outer rim margins unevenly, creating a subtle imbalance that signals a possible momentary feeding issue in the machinery. And this kind of micro off-center strike is unusual because it typically pairs with other mechanical symptoms, yet in this coin's case, It merges with the double die characteristics in a way that suggests multiple errors occurred in rapid succession, generating layered mistakes that compound the value because such a combination becomes astronomically unlikely to repeat. What makes this coin even more mysterious, however, is the speculation surrounding its metal composition. While standard 2011 cents are produced with a zinc core and copper plating, some testing indicates that this anomalous cent may have been struck on a leftover experimental planchet or a misaligned blank intended for testing durability or plating adhesion, and whether this is due to authentic transitional experimentation or simply a misfeed of an off-spec blank, the result is a weight and resonance slightly different from standard coins, a subtle distinction detectable only through precise measurement but significant enough to spark theories that a small batch of non-standard planchets might have accidentally entered circulation production, making the existence of such a coin nearly impossible and therefore immensely valuable. Adding to the intrigue, microscopic examination revealed unusual die clash patterns on the reverse, faint but unmistakable impressions that look like ghostly outlines of obverse features, meaning the dies may have struck each other without a planchet between them before resuming normal production, a phenomenon that typically creates severe visual distortions but in this case resulted in faint, elegant traces that appear almost artistic, increasing the coin's mystique and fueling debate about whether this particular die pair was misaligned, worn, or temporarily obstructed by debris that momentarily disrupted its function. These layered errors, double die anomalies, subtle off-center striking, possible experimental composition, and ghost-like die clashes combine to create a scenario so improbable that collectors consider this coin almost mythical. And when improbability reaches such an extreme level, the value rises exponentially because collectors are not only paying for rarity, they are paying for a story, a phenomenon, a glimpse into a moment of minting chaos that can never be recreated. And in the case of this 2011 D cent, the story is unlike anything the modern minting era has produced. Rarity alone cannot account for the astronomical estimated value of $329 million. Instead, it is the coin's status as a one-of-a-kind anomaly, a piece that represents a convergence of unrelated minting errors, each individually uncommon but collectively impossible, that elevates it into the upper stratosphere of collectible wealth, and the extreme rarity fuels competitive interest among private collectors, museums, wealthy investors, and numismatic institutions that seek ownership not just as an asset but as a central exhibit of coin-making history. The coin's cultural impact also contributes to its value, as the idea that a modern cent, produced in an era of highly automated technology, could contain multiple overlapping errors seems almost unreal, causing widespread discussion, social media buzz, and numismatic excitement, especially among communities fascinated by the potential hidden in ordinary pocket change. And every time such conversations go viral, the value of the coin surges because public fascination increases demand, and whenever demand skyrockets for a single existing specimen, its estimated worth inflates dramatically. Another factor influencing the value is the possibility that this coin may represent the only surviving example from a destroyed batch, meaning that if the mint detected abnormalities in production, most of the affected coins could have been removed, melted, or recycled, leaving only this single survivor to tell the story, and scarcity at that level, one coin out of billions, creates a level of desirability beyond conventional collecting, crossing into the territory of art, historical artifact, and financial trophy. Specialists analyzing the coin also point to the purity of its preservation. Reports claim that the surface fields, while not flawless, remain in extraordinarily sharp condition for a coin that supposedly entered circulation, raising questions about whether it was pulled from the population shortly after discovery or whether it never fully circulated at all. And this level of preservation raises its desirability among grading agencies, investors, and collectors seeking perfection combined with anomaly, a combination that magnifies its worth to unimaginable heights. The speculative nature of the coin's background fuels even more interest, as some believe it may have been a test piece unintentionally released, while others insist it is the product of a malfunctioning press that created only a handful of anomalies before correction. However, without official mint confirmation, the uncertainties only add to the coin's mythology, and in the world of collectible rarities, mystery can be as valuable as material rarity, enhancing the story that accompanies the object and increasing its desirability across markets. With each passing year, conversations surrounding this extraordinary 2011 cent grow louder, and experts predict that as long as its origin remains partly unknown and its error combination remains unmatched, its value will continue rising, turning it into a legendary icon in numismatics and a reminder that incredible treasures can emerge from the most unexpected places, even from a simple 1-cent coin minted just over a decade ago. Next, 1987 1-cent USA coin. We deep dive into one of the most extraordinary and mind-bending coin stories ever discussed. A tale that blends rarity, mystery, minting drama, and the thrill of unimaginable value as we explore how a simple 1987 1-cent piece, normally worth just a penny, can shock collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike by reaching an estimated value of $330 million because of a series of astonishing errors and minting anomalies that have turned it into one of the most sought-after coins imaginable. And as we unravel each twist and turn of its creation, discovery, authentication, and speculation, you will understand why this coin story has captivated millions around the world who never imagined that a coin sitting quietly in someone's pocket, drawer, or jar could be hiding a fortune beyond comprehension. Beginning with the fact that the Denver Mint in 1987 was operating under intense pressure to maintain production quotas during a period of increased circulation demand, which often led to mechanical stress, die fatigue, quality control strain, and unexpected oversights that created the perfect brewing ground for a once-in-a-lifetime minting error that, in extremely rare cases, went entirely unnoticed until decades later when numismatists with advanced tools uncovered anomalies that turned ordinary coins into priceless treasures, starting with the most discussed error associated with this legendary 1987 cent. The triple-layered misstrike that shows overlapping impressions of Lincoln's bust, the date, and the mint mark all offset at marginally different angles, creating an effect that looks like a ghosted reflection surrounding the main design. An error that is incredibly rare because a triple strike involving proper alignment, incomplete press recovery, and continuation without coin ejection requires a sequence of unbelievably specific mechanical failures, and when combined with a die rotation between strikes, it transforms the coin into a miracle of minting physics, sparking fascination among error coin specialists who insist that the combination of misalignment, die clash remnants, rotation anomalies, and hub doubling could only happen in one out of several billion coins, raising its significance, desirability, and perceived value among elite collectors who often compete passionately for unique pieces that tell a dramatic story of the mint's operations and historical context. And the intrigue only deepens when considering the second major error reported on this ultra-valuable 1987 cent, which involves an extraordinarily rare transitional planchet anomaly, meaning the coin may have been mistakenly struck on leftover copper-based planchets or experimental compositions not intended for regular circulation, creating a coin with abnormal weight, density, ring tone, and metallurgical fingerprint, all of which contribute to its mystique, especially because transitional errors, such as copper planchets, mixed into zinc years, have always commanded unprecedented value, as seen in past auctions where transitional composition cents have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars even without additional striking errors. So when multiple error categories converge on a single coin, the value multiplies exponentially, and that phenomenon is exactly why this 1987 specimen allegedly skyrocketed to a valuation of $330 million according to private collectors who believe it may be the only one of its kind in existence and who know that in the realm of numismatics, uniqueness is the ultimate multiplier of worth, especially when the coin remains in exceptional condition despite the turbulent minting events that created it, with surfaces displaying extraordinary preservation for an error piece, no signs of post-mint damage, and crisp details that allow experts to study every anomaly with clarity, which matters because collectors want not only rarity but also eye appeal, historical significance, and structural integrity when paying astronomical sums, and the mythical coin's value is pushed even higher by another mysterious attribute. A suspected die clash that appears beneath Lincoln's chin and above the motto, showing faint outlines of the reverse design that transferred to the obverse die after striking a coin without a planchet present, an event that occurs rarely and unpredictably, leaving ghost-like impressions that add complexity to the design and create desirable collectibles. And When enthusiasts discovered this clash feature on the 1987 D Marvel, it became part of a narrative describing what may be one of the most chaotic minting sequences ever recorded, involving misalignment, multiple strikes, die rotation, planchet confusion, and clashing sequences all occurring within a short window, a convergence so statistically improbable that dedicated collectors believe the coin is an irreplaceable artifact rather than a mere 1-cent coin, and the fascination surrounding it only intensifies when considering the theories proposed by mint historians who suggest that the error may have been produced during a rare moment when the Denver Mint temporarily shifted dies, recalibrated machinery, and cleared clogged feeders, creating a momentary vulnerability in the system capable of producing a coin with overlapping strike histories. And in the fast-paced environment of high-volume coin production, such a mistake could pass unnoticed, slip through mechanical sorting, evade inspection, and enter circulation before anyone realized that a record-breaking rarity had escaped into the world. And that mystery fuels the imagination of collectors who envision the coin traveling through decades of pockets, purchases, exchanges, and random moments before ending up in the hands of someone who recognized its anomalies, sparking excitement, disbelief, and speculation as experts examined it, debated its authenticity, and concluded that if every anomaly documented is legitimate and not tampered with, the coin represents one of the most extraordinary minting accidents ever discovered, pushing its perceived value into territories usually reserved for historical artifacts, museum pieces, or private collections of ultra-wealthy numismatists who seek the rarest items on Earth. And the coin's market value, said to be $330 million, is not simply based on the sum of its errors but on the combination of rarity, historical moment, minting complexity, survival condition, and the psychological factor of owning something no one else in the world possesses. A concept that drives elite collectors to compete fiercely in private auctions where they pay not just for metal or minting history, but for the ability to claim ownership of a singular object that serves as a testament to the mysteries and unpredictabilities of United States coin production. And the possibility that there may be more undiscovered examples in circulation keeps the public intrigued, prompting treasure hunters to check their jars, drawers, rolls, and wallets in hopes of stumbling upon a coin that defies logic, that carries hints of layering, doubling, misalignment, or unexpected metal composition. Because the dream of discovering a life-changing penny is irresistible, fueling online discussions, collection forums, and viral videos that inspire new generations to learn about minting processes, coin grading standards, error classifications, and the subtle features that can turn an overlooked cent into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And as you listen to this story unfold, the thrill becomes clear, because the 1987 D1-cent coin embodies everything that makes numismatics exciting: possibility, rarity, mystery, luck, and the beauty of imperfections produced by machines designed for precision yet vulnerable to rare failures that occasionally create masterpieces of accidental art. And as collectors continue studying the extraordinary anomalies marking this specific cent, more questions arise about its origins, minting sequence, and survival journey, turning it into not just a valuable artifact but a conversation piece that unites enthusiasts around the world who share a passion for discovery and historical inquiry. And this legendary coin, with its misstrikes, die clashes, rotations, planchet mysteries, ghost impressions, and structural anomalies, stands as a reminder that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest stories, and sometimes a single penny can become a symbol of incredible fortune, inspiring everyone watching to stay curious, check their change, and never underestimate what might be hiding in the most ordinary places. So if you enjoyed this deep exploration of one of the most sensational coin stories ever told, make sure to like the video, share it with friends who love treasure hunting tales, and subscribe for more fascinating journeys into the world of rare coins and unexpected fortune. Last 2016 D1-cent USA coin. Today, as we dive into another astonishing and almost unbelievable story from the world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change transforms into extraordinary treasures, and where a simple coin you might overlook every day could potentially be hiding unimaginable value. So get ready for a deep and thrilling exploration as we unravel the captivating tale of the 2016 D1-cent coin that has been rumored to command an eye-watering price of $330 $1 million because of its mysterious errors, unusual mistakes, and the wild possibilities that collectors love to imagine when discussing the rarest and most extraordinary mint anomalies ever known. And as we journey through this fascinating topic, we will investigate how a coin released only a few years ago could rise to such mythical financial heights, what types of minting errors might theoretically justify such a valuation, why collectors become so enamored with even the slightest imperfections, and how the power of imagination, combined with a scarcity mindset, can turn a common object into a cultural phenomenon that inspires speculation, curiosity, and excitement across the numismatic community and beyond. Because when we explore stories like this one, we tap into a much larger narrative about rarity, obsession, and the human fascination with the possibility that something understated and overlooked could secretly possess life-changing worth. And the 2016 cent serves as an excellent foundation for this kind of speculation, since the Denver Mint, known for producing highly consistent and well-struck coins, occasionally surprises collectors with subtle misalignments, material inconsistencies, or striking defects that, while rare, can capture the imagination of enthusiasts who understand how dramatically an error's uniqueness can elevate its place in numismatic lore, especially when discussing concepts like double dies, broad strikes, off-center strikes, transitional planchet mistakes, missing mint marks, die clashes, repunched mint marks, or even the exceedingly rare possibility of an experimental planchet accidentally used during the striking process, because each one of these error categories has been known to cause dramatic surges in a coin's value under the right circumstances. And even though the 2016 cent itself is ordinarily a common post-2010 copper-plated zinc coin with billions produced, storytellers and collectors often create speculative scenarios about coins that appear normal at a glance but harbor shocking anomalies beneath the surface, such as a coin that may have been struck on a foreign planchet originally intended for another denomination, or a coin that displays an extreme off-center strike so unusual that only a single piece exists, or perhaps an ultra-dramatic double die obverse in which Lincoln's profile, date, and lettering appear doubled with such clarity that experts deem it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worthy of global attention. And it is within this atmosphere of speculation that the legendary claim of the 2016 1 cent costing $331 million arises. Not because any such sale has ever occurred, but because collectors love imagining the upper bounds of what an error coin's value could reach if it were the only one of its kind in existence, accompanied by a combination of historical significance, shocking preservation quality, and a story so compelling that the numismatic world would treat the coin as a priceless artifact. And this hypothetical scenario gains even more intrigue when we examine the various mistakes that could theoretically justify such a high price, such as a coin being struck using a die intended for a gold coin denomination, which would imprint mismatched details and create a hybrid image never meant to appear together, or a coin struck with a planchet made of an entirely different metal composition that would alter its weight, color, and magnetic properties, making it instantly recognizable as an anomaly the moment someone tested it, or a coin that experienced a catastrophic die error mid-strike, causing the design to warp into an unintentional abstract pattern that collectors would consider a form of historical art formed by accident rather than intent. And these scenarios grow even more dramatic when we speculate about multiple errors occurring at once, such as a triple-layered double die combined with a 40% off-center strike and a die cap effect that leaves the coin shaped more like a small bowl than a flat disc, because multiple error combinations are among the rarest categories of any mint anomaly, and coins exhibiting them can command exceptionally high premiums among collectors who appreciate how unlikely it would be for all these conditions to occur simultaneously, making such a piece theoretically unique in the world. And once we introduce uniqueness, the imagination naturally begins to wander into the territory of astronomical valuations, because in the world of collectibles, uniqueness is often synonymous with pricelessness, which leads to stories about coins whose hypothetical worth skyrockets into the hundreds of millions as enthusiasts speculate about the possibility of a wealthy private collector being willing to pay a world record price for the privilege of owning the only example of a coin with such extraordinary traits. And even if the idea feels exaggerated, it sparks an undeniable fascination, since rarity has repeatedly demonstrated its ability to influence value on an extreme scale, as seen in the auction prices of famous numismatic treasures like the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. And although the 2016 cent is far more modern, the concept remains the same. If an extraordinary mistake occurred during production and if that mistake resulted in a one-of-a-kind coin, then the theoretical upper limit of its value becomes limited only by the willingness of collectors to compete for ownership, which is why stories about this coin costing $331 million can feel so gripping, especially when we add the element of discovery into the mix, because there is always the exciting possibility that such a coin could still be sitting unnoticed in a jar of change, a drawer, a forgotten pocket, or a small box stored away in someone's home, waiting to be identified by the right person who understands how to recognize errors such as misaligned dies, misplaced mint marks, rotated reverses, strike-through mistakes caused by debris between the planchet and die, or die wear and polishing patterns that inadvertently alter small details on Lincoln's portrait or the lettering around the rim. And this thrilling sense of possibility fuels a massive community of hobbyists who routinely examine coins under magnification, weigh them with precision scales, and compare design details against known standards to determine whether a particular penny might be something extraordinary rather than ordinary. And the 2016 cent becomes especially interesting in this regard because even though the Denver Mint's modern production process rarely produces dramatic errors, the few that do escape become instantly sought after due to the otherwise high consistency of that year's strike quality, making any deviation even more noticeable. And this creates an atmosphere where people begin telling stories about what could theoretically happen if a truly shocking error from that year were ever discovered, because the combination of modern rarity, immaculate condition, and a spectacular error would make such a coin worthy of immense attention from both collectors and investors, leading to bidding wars, media coverage, and speculation that could push theoretical valuations into the realm of hundreds of millions, especially if the coin were authenticated by a top-tier grading service, encapsulated as unique, and widely publicized as one of the greatest minting anomalies ever found. And while all of this remains deeply speculative, it taps into a powerful truth about human nature. We are fascinated by the idea that the extraordinary can hide within the ordinary, that miracles can appear in unexpected places, and that a simple 2016 penny could hold secrets waiting to be revealed by someone observant enough to look closely. And this feeling transforms everyday coins into objects of wonder, encouraging people to search through their change, examine each detail, and dream about the possibility that they too might stumble upon a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And as we wrap up this deep exploration into how and why such stories about astronomical coin values emerge, remember that even though the $331 million valuation is a conceptual exaggeration rooted in theoretical scenarios rather than confirmed sales, the joy of imagining what could be is part of what makes this hobby so engaging, so captivating, and so endlessly exciting for people around the world who love the thrill of discovery and the hope that something small, simple, and unexpected could turn out to be worth more than they ever imagined.